that I'm like doing the math out. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I am so excited for today because today we're doing an Ilia versus Kosas video, and we're going to be talking about products that are just comparable to each other. So not like the products that like Ilia has some that Kosas doesn't have and Kosas has some that Ilia doesn't have. We're not going to be talking about that, just like the comparable products that I have here. I'm very excited. These are brands people compare a lot, so I'm very excited to get into it, and we're going to be talking, again, just products that are comparable to each other, and I'm really freaking excited. So I would love to know down below if you have other brands that you want me to compare and contrast. Please leave that down below and I can definitely start working on that. These videos take a really long time to kind of create because you have to test them side by side and like, you know, over time and all of that. So leave those brands down below and I will definitely start working on that. And also at the end of this video, if you're like, I'm saying that I prefer something over something else and you're like, girl, absolutely not, leave that down below too, because I would love to know what your favorites are of like certain things that I'm mentioning today. And yeah, I just want to kind of jump in and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. It is so helpful when you do that. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump in and talk about this Ilia versus Kosas video. All right, you guys, I'm very excited. So we're just going to jump in and get started because they have a lot of products and I don't want this to be the longest video of all time. So first things first, let's talk skin tints. So I actually have done an entire skin tint video with these versus each other, so I'm not going to get crazy into it. I'm going to link that video down below, but there's definitely a difference here and we got to talk about it. This has more coverage. This one is lighter coverage. This clings to dry patches. This one does not cling to dry patches. I think the shade range on this one is better than this one, although this one is a little bit more extensive. Tints don't have to be a perfect match because they are so much more light coverage than other, you know, foundations and stuff, but it should be a general like undertone match. And that's like the issue I'm having with this is like undertones are just like all type of whack, but really love this product. And again, preference here is just like your skin type and coverage wise, like what you prefer. Okay, next let's talk powder. So these powders are very different. So the Ilia powder is loose and has one, it's just like white, and the Kosas one is in a pan. Also, this, I broke this, I dropped this like 2 or 3 times and shattered it, and I have another one, but I'm still using this one. It normally is domed and the bit in here doesn't fall out, but I'm all types of clumsy, butterfingers if you will, and dropped it, so it's all types of broke. This has multiple shades, and the shade I actually wear is pillowy. If you like something that's a little bit more highlighty bright and you're my complexion, I would go like a shade or 2 lighter than this, but this is like a perfect shade for me. I love this. The finishes on these are very different too. So this is loose and matte in one shade, and this is packed in a pan and not loose and not matte at all. Like this definitely gives you dew. It sets your stuff up, but it's not going to keep you matte or not oily all day. So that's kind of the difference here. I know someone is going to ask, this is not like, this isn't flashback, and on my complexion and darker, I have not noticed any white cast or anything like that. So you're not going to get flashback when you take pictures, but also when you set your face with this isn't crazy. One of these is blurring. This is very, very blurring. This one is not as blurring, but that doesn't mean, I feel like there's so much noise right now. I hope that's not like coming across in the video, but I don't know what my neighbors are doing upstairs. Y'all, anyone else have like the rudest neighbors? Just like out here basically bowling 3 in the morning, like making the most noise for absolutely no reason, but I digress. Yeah, so these are very different. If I had to use like my preference for every day, it would be this one because I don't love a mattifying product under the eyes for every day. But if I have an event, like I'm going here. Like I am going here, keeping me matte, keeping me locked all day, but also like really blurring the face. I'm actually a really big fan of both of these. It's just like an occasion thing for me. Okay, next we're gonna talk blush. We're gonna talk cream versus cream today. Ilia actually has 2 kind of more cream style blush, but I'm gonna be talking about like the true creams today. So we have this one in the pot, and the shade I have in this is Tropic Equinox. This is the lighter of the 2. They have 2 Tropic Equinox. It's Tropic Equinox and Tropic Equinox Intense or High Intensity or something. And the texture of this is very, very dewy. The versus we're going to do today is the Ilia one, because this is also like more of a true cream. They have one that's in a stick that I'm not going to be talking about today. And they also, Kosas has one that is a powder that I'm not going to be talking about today because they're not like truly comparable in my opinion. So the Ilia Color Haze versus the Cream Kosas. These are very different products, and let me explain why. The Kosas is like truly, truly hella dewy and very pigmented, I will say though. And the Ilia one is not dewy. It like sets up matte, but it's a cream. So pigmented. Like the pigmentation on these is like, whoa. The Kosas one is super pigmented too. It's just very different because the finishes are different, but I still think it's worth comparing the two. If let's say I'm wearing a mask, I'm going here. If I want long lasting for all day, I'm going here. With the Kosas one, if you set it with powder, which is like what I would do specifically with this one, like if you set it with the Kosas powder, it does still do up and look nice. But I don't love how this sets with powder really, unless you apply like a really thin layer. I just feel like it can be a little bit thick looking. The consistency of this is very much more thick than this one. And my personal preference honestly is to go here to the Ilia one. I'm obsessed with these. My favorite shades are Stutter and Waking Up. Waking Up is like my everyday, all day, year round shade, and Stutter is like high summer, looking cute, looking good. If you have really deep skin, the pigmentation on Stutter is truly insane, and I highly recommend checking this out. Very, very good. I still really like the Kosas one, to be clear. Like, I don't dislike it. It's just not my preference out of the two, if that makes sense, but I still use it and I still really like it. Okay, next I want to talk about bronzers. Very excited about this one. So this is the Kosas powder. It's domed, like this one would be if I didn't shatter it, and it is a shimmery kind of finish. Then we have the Ilia one. So the shades I wear in this are medium and novelty. This is shimmery, and definitely it's not like hella glittery. You're not gonna look like a weird Edward Cullen.
This is what I am.
But it has shimmer in it, whereas this one does not. So I think finish here is really going to be what your preference is. They both last really long. My personal preference for year round is this one by far. Oh my God, I like dug into this one, like looking all types of sad, is definitely this one. This one just for year round for me is like what I go for. This is more like a summer thing. Or like even just an occasion thing. I do really, really like this though, and it's really, really, really pretty. I really also like the shade medium. It like just blends beautifully. The brush I like to apply my powder bronzers with is, where is it? Here it is this brush. So this is the Sephora 59, and currently like my true obsession. I love this brush for bronzers. You can use it for a bunch of other things, but like this is such a nice bronzer brush, or if you're really trying to fluff blush all over your face, this is nice because it's not super like big, it's not super dense, it's just like so nice. I'm obsessed with this brush, and these two apply beautifully with that. And again, like year-round preference is just gonna be the more matte one, just because I feel like it's more wearable for me every day. But this is still beautiful. They don't look heavy on the skin. They just look so gorgeous. And this, like, when you're trying to, oh my God, this with like a truly like a sun-kissed, just gorgeous, like nice, like cheek, like flushed cheek look is absolutely to die for. Gorgeous. Obsessed. Okay, next let's do concealer. I have the concealers here, and just to get this out of the way, in the Kosas one I have the shade 6 and 7, and in the Ilia one I have the shade Chai. Now these are definitely very, very different formulas, so we gotta talk here. Now, I actually like both of these, but they are different, and there's just a difference here. So this one, if you have dry under eyes, I would go here, because this one is very, very hydrating. It has a lot of oil in it. But if you have weepy eyes, or, you know, when it's windy or whatever, your eyes tend to run, and you're wearing mascara, this is going to really make it run. Like, you need to set this up for sure, because it gets very it can just make your mascara run because it's so hydrating. It's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. This one, I don't really have that, but I also find if you have like super dry under eyes, I would go here just because this is very hydrating and like this doesn't cling to anything. This doesn't necessarily cling to anything. It's the formula is just very different. In terms of shade range, I prefer the Ilia shade range. Just because I find that it's less warm and I can easily find something, whereas in the Kosas one, the issue I had is like it skews a little bit more yellow for me personally, and I prefer something a little bit more neutral, or neutral warm. I really don't prefer yellow color under my eye. So yeah, that's kind of like the thing I have here with these. And I actually reviewed this in an entire video, so I'll also link that video down below so you can see exactly like my whole review on it, my breakdown. But I really, really like these. If I had to do like a night out look or whatever, I'm going here just because I feel like the I don't worry as much with this one about my mascara or anything running. And what I like to do in general with my concealers, all concealers, especially like ones that have like an applicator like this, like a little doe foot applicator, is I apply like 3 dots here and then a dot right here in the corner and let that sit for a little bit while I like do my brows or something like that. And then I blend it out and I just find like the coverage is better. Also the way that it lasts is better. It just kind of sets up better. Really, really like these though. They're both really great. It's just like a preference thing. You know, with a lot of these, it's preference. But my personal preference is this because I don't really have to worry about my under eyes as much. But I also tend to have issues with mascaras running if I don't kind of set myself up right for the day, if that makes sense. Especially if you're wearing mascara on your bottom lashes, honey, you gotta set this, or you're gonna be a mess. Next, we're moving on to mascara. So we got 2 mascaras here. I'm excited to get into this. So I've actually done a video where I kind of talk about the Kosas mascara versus this, but also other mascaras. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but if you know me or you've watched this channel before, you know one of my favorite mascaras is the Ilia one. So you already know the answer to which my preference is. It's the Ilia one, but let's talk about it. So the Ilia one comes with a plastic brush. It's a 2-sided plastic brush, and the 2-sided, well, oh my god, am I okay? One side has short bristles, one has long, so they're different. And the Kosas one has kind of a swooped, traditional brush, but it's swooped, kind of like a macaroni noodle, if you will. And they're very different. So formula wise, they're very different, but also brush wise, they're very different. So the Ilia one is very separating. You can build it up and get like a beautiful like va-va-voom lash, but you can get a very separated lash. Like if you like the Glossier lash slick, whatever it is, like their mascara, you'd really like this because it can give you a very similar look, but also you can build it up and get volume. So this is very versatile. This is very, it definitely is like heavier, not heavier, but it gives you like a more statement lash, like pretty much right away. And the formula is like oil based. So if you have oily anything near your eyes, run. Don't use this. She gonna run everywhere. A lot of people actually, for them, this is like super, super waterproof. And I do believe like if avocado oil and that type of stuff works really well for you for like longevity and products, because everyone's lashes are different. I mean, everyone's everything is different, right? But like lash wise, like this can be like waterproof for some people, which is really awesome because I wish I had that. Like for me, that's not the case. This one runs on me. You need to clean off the brush. I would say more so than not, even if you read reviews online, this isn't like it's not the average for it to be like super long lasting for people. It's just like more rare, if that makes sense. But I still really like the way that this makes my lashes look. Okay, next I want to talk brows. So I actually don't have my Ilia brow gel because I gave it away because I did not like it. So I just want to preface that, like I didn't like it, so I gave it to someone else who I felt like they would like it. It was way before I decided to like do a video like this. So I don't think that formula, if you have thick brows or brows that like need to be tamed or actually need brow gel, would like, because it doesn't hold anything in place. Whereas I feel like the Kosas, I mean, you know how I feel about this Kosas brow, like this Kosas brow gel is like so good. I'm obsessed with it. And I really like, I was really disappointed in the Ilia one. I hope they like change the formula, and maybe I should try it again and like order it and try it again, and maybe like do another video where I talk about the difference. But I really find that this sets my brows up. I get that soap brow look. I get that like really just like beautiful brow look. Whereas with the Ilia one, I just didn't feel like it did anything. And if I'm setting my brows, I want them to hold in place. I don't necessarily, at least for me personally, want to build up color. If you're the type of person that wants to like build up color and all of that, I mean, Kosas has like colored brow products that are good too. I prefer the clear one, but that's just my personal preference. It's the formula of the one that has color is actually fine. It's like just as good, but I have a preference when it comes to brow stuff to be more clear right now. I actually feel like a lot of people prefer clear right now because like soap brows and all of that, but the Ilia one, I just, again, like I want hold. I don't want to build my brows up, so this is the way I would go. Huge fan of this. Okay, next, I want to talk eyeshadow. The Ilia cream one is nice and it looks great and it lasts long, but like this one is just so much better in my personal opinion that I want to make sure I highlight this and highlight the stuff that I'm really loving. So the Ilia ones that I love, truly obsessed with are like the powder one, and this is their warm nude. They have a cool nude too, and that one's nice, but this one is gorgeous. And then I also have the Kosas like liquid products, and these are great, but they're so liquid, like truly like water, and I love that about these. Whereas the Ilia ones aren't as like I feel like I can feel the Ilia more on my eyelid, and this one I really can't feel. So this, I specifically want to talk because of I want to compare these two because of the shimmers. They are very similar in look. And the shimmers in the Ilia powders are freaking to die for and are amazing. And the shimmers here for the Kosas liquid ones are so, so good. They're both super long lasting. They're great. If I want something that's super easy peasy lemon squeezy, like these are just like what I go for. And they have really cool shades in these too, which I really, really like. Like it doesn't have to just be neutrals. Like you can get like a purple or a blue. And the pigmentation is amazing. The pigmentation on these is also really, really good. And I'm obsessed with these. And I really want to make sure I love these. Now, I actually don't have a preference. I love both of these specifically a lot. I like the Ilia cream ones, but I actually gave those away too because I preferred the Ilia am I okay? The powder ones. So I knew I wasn't going to be using the Ilia cream ones as much, but those ones are really nice. Too, they're just, I had a preference. So I wanted to talk about like my two true favorites side by side. Okay, next we're going to talk lipsticks, and I'm just going to swatch on the back of my hand two that I think are like really nice and comparable to each other. The Ilia in Marsala, which this is a very popular color for them, and the Kosas Undone is really popular. And I just want to show them side by side. So this is the Kosas and this is the Ilia. And these are very similar. So I want to talk about these like just because they're comparable in color specifically, but you know how I feel about the Kosas Vegas. Like if I had to pick a favorite lipstick, I'm always going Kosas Vegas because it's my favorite lipstick like literally ever right now. These are really, really nice. The formulas are different. So the Kosas one has a little bit more dew to it and slip to it, whereas this one is more matte and has less dew. So this one feels not thicker when you apply it, but it feels like a little bit thicker just because it doesn't have as much slip. But these are both beautiful. I actually like to use both of these as like a lip and cheek color because they're both gorgeous. I love the shade ranges that these lipsticks have. My preference in shade range is actually the Kosas one, just because I think they have a little bit more variety for like, especially like my complexion, like kind of less pink in tone. But the Ilia ones are still beautiful and I love them. This shade Marsala is like so good. If I actually had a preference in terms of like for a cheek and lip color like formula, I actually prefer the Ilia one for that one. just because it's a little bit thicker and less slippy, so the longevity is longer here. This one's really, really nice and has like a nice dew to it. And again, favorite lipstick of all time is the Vegas one. Okay, next we're actually gonna let's talk lip oil, and then we're gonna do lip balm. Just applied a little bit of dip on my lips. I love this shade, like this is so good. And then I also have Tahiti. Yeah, Tahiti in the Ilia one. So I feel like the Ilia one is a little bit more creamy, and the Kosas one is a little bit more sheer, but has like a punch of color, if that makes sense. My preference is the Kosas one just because I like the shades in this better, but I like both of the formulas are great. They're both really nice though, super hydrating, give nice gloss. I actually really like both of these, but again, my preference would be the Kosas one. I'm actually surprised, like with sort of like, it's like, I feel like it's really split, you know, it's like 50-50 between like whether I prefer Kosas or Ilia. I'm pretty surprised. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk, or not surprised because I knew, but like now that I'm like doing the math out, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, next, last but not least, we're gonna do lip balms. So I have the Kosas Sport, and then I actually have the tinted lip balms of the Ilia one, but I've tried the regular one as well. And with this one, I just have the regular, but I also have tried their tinted ones. They actually just came out with new tint ones and like new cute like colored containers, which I really like, but that's fine. We're gonna compare some lip balms today. So lip balm is a lip balm, right? Like it does do what it does, whatever. But like, is it lip balm? Like I love a tinted lip balm, and like it just seems like such a simple product, but it can be like life-changing, or at least it can be for me, because if you've watched any of my lip balm videos, you know I'm a hoarder, obsessor, like can't stop, won't stop, will always have lip balm. But let's talk about the difference here. So let's compare the two like non-tinted shades first. I don't have the non-tinted of the Ilia one because I've used that up, but that is a really, really nice lip balm. I also really like the Kosas one. I feel like the Kosas one is a little bit more smoothing than the Ilia one, but the Ilia one is really, really good. I've also used the Ilia lip mask. Kosas doesn't have a lip mask, so I didn't want to compare the two, but the Ilia lip mask is really, really smoothing. And I would say more in the same vein of like the smoothing I get with this, but it's a lip mask, not a lip balm. So I'm just gonna kind of mention it here and then move on to the lip balm. So the lip balms side by side, the Ilia one's really, really good and I really like it. But my preference is just this one when it comes to just the sheer one, because I feel like this one is just ever so slightly more smoothing. And for my lips specifically, I like something smoothing because I have very, again, wrinkly lips, and when they're dry and they're really wrinkly, they kind of peel more because it has more like cracks, and by cracks I mean just wrinkles. I hope that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like it can peel more and have like more just cracks in it. So I prefer this one, but the Ilia one is beautiful and does an incredible job. And if you never used their lip mask, I would definitely recommend checking it out, because I do feel like it does a great job smoothing out the lips. And their lip mask is really similar to the, if you've ever used the Cora Organics lip mask, I would say it's very similar to that one. And the Cora Organics lip mask is really, really nice. And now let's talk about the colored one. So I've used the Kosas colored one before, and I have two shades actually of the Ilia one. So let's talk about it. The Kosas just actually came out with one more shade or two more shades in their lip balms, and I think in total they have 4 shades. The Ilia one has like a crazy shade range, and the shades that I have are Hold Me and Faded. The difference here is like super, super brown and super, super pink. These are really hydrating. I don't really have that much of a preference between the Kosas one and these. I like they have more shade options here though, so I would say that's the main difference, is the shade range options. But in terms of preference, I actually don't have a preference, because what I use like a clear lip balm for is a little different than what I use a tinted lip balm, if that makes sense. But if you have a preference and you like something more smoothing, the Kosas ones are really smoothing, and I would say their tinted ones are the exact same formula as the like sheer one, and I would say the same here. They're really, really good. They're super hydrating. They look nice, and I feel like my lips like feel like hydrated and plump when I'm wearing these. Like I don't feel like they're getting dry. Sometimes I do feel like tinted products, like lip products, can dry out your lips, especially lip tints, all types of dry. But I really like these. And yeah, that's it for this video. Wow, I feel like This is the longest video ever, but also we really went through it. I really feel like it was really 50-50 between like what my preference is. I would love to know if there was like something specific that you were like, oh girl, you are wrong. Absolutely not. The Ilia one's better or the Kosas one is better. Let me know down below. Also, let me know down below any other brands that you want me to compare and contrast. I would love to do that and start working on that. And yeah, that's it for this Kosas versus Ilia, Ilia versus Kosas video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.